Our Springfield Board of Mayor and Aldermen meeting is called to order. Please stand and we'll have the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. William? Yes, sir. We will now have our moment of silence.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this meeting. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. 1.3, the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of the Board of Mayor and Aldermen held on July 19th, 2022. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Gregg. Are there any corrections? No corrections. We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. Our legislative agenda, 2.1, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-15 on a first reading. An ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023's annual budget of the City of Springfield by amending certain general funds and utility funds operating budgets. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Vice Mayor Harris. I will call on Ms. Brickles to read this.
Ordinance 22-15, an ordinance amending the fiscal year 2023 annual budget for the City of Springfield by amending certain general fund and utility fund operating budgets. Whereas it is necessary to amend the City of Springfield annual budget for the fiscal year 2023 in order to meet the requirements of the city charter. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee, that the City of Springfield annual budget for fiscal year 2023 is hereby amended to make necessary changes to expenditures and revenues within the funds and departments as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All ordinances, resolutions, and policies in conflict herewith are hereby rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. This is a housekeeping matter that we have to take care of every year. Are there any questions or discussion on this? No discussion?
Everything seemed to be in order.
Ready for a vote? Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.2, discuss and possible take action on ordinance 22-16 on a first reading. An ordinance amending the City of Springfield service practice policies by amending the section entitled Billing, by amending the subsection entitled Billing Adjustments to read as set forth in Exhibit A. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris, a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. I will call on Ms. Kim Brickles.
Ordinance 22-16, an ordinance amending the City of Springfield Department of Utilities service practice policies. Whereas effective August 20th, 2019, the Springfield Board of Mayor and Aldermen adopted the City of Springfield Department of Utilities service practice policies. And whereas the City of Springfield desires to amend the policies in order to provide better customer service to its customers. And whereas the City of Springfield desires to expand the eligibility for sewer billing adjustments to include more water-only activities. And whereas these policies are codified in the City of Springfield Conditions of Service Manual. Now therefore be it ordained by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of Springfield, Tennessee as follows. The City of Springfield Department of Utilities service practice policies are hereby amended as set forth in Exhibit A attached. All policies, ordinances, resolutions, and conflicts herewith are rescinded to the extent of the conflict only.
Thank you. I'm going to call on our city manager first, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. This is an ordinance presented before you tonight that the issue was first brought to us by Alderman Trotter. We appreciate I believe a constituent had raised the issue to him that our billing adjustments only included swimming pools, and there are other water-only features that are kind of left out of that when we're talking about sewer billing adjustments, things that don't come back to us via sewer, via the wastewater collection system and go to our wastewater treatment plant. So we researched that issue, looked into kind of adding inclusive of other water-only features, but we also added some language that kind of delves into that. We currently have no way, mechanism to, it's kind of it's the honor system, okay? If someone comes in for a swimming pool adjustment. And so we added some language that does allow us to verify that and have an application for that process rather than someone walking to the door and saying, hey, I want my sewer bill adjusted. and that way we can be a little bit more responsible when we're dealing with ratepayer money in that regard.
Okay? Discussion, questions? No discussion? Okay, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.3, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-25, on a resolution declaring the intent of the City of Springfield to reimburse itself for certain expenditures related to the Public Works project with the proceeds of a tax-exempt debt obligation to be issued by the City of Springfield in the amount of $19,905,000. Motion made by Alderman Green, and second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Questions on this resolution? Another one of these housekeeping. No discussion? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 2.4, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-26, on a resolution authorizing the appropriation of funds for the fiscal year 2023's annual budget for the financial aid of nonprofit, charitable, and nonprofit civic organizations in accordance to 6-54-111 Tennessee Code annotated. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris to discuss, and a second? Do we have a second? Second made by Alderman Green. Another housekeeping matter we have to do every year. No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
2.5, discuss and possible take action on Resolution 22-27, a resolution accepting a letter of credit from JRF LLC to guarantee maintenance surety for the stormwater structure ditch and riprap improvements for the Village Square Townhouse subdivision. Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green to discuss. Questions on this letter of credit? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Our administrative items, 3.1, discuss and possible take action on. Oh, I'm sorry, 2.6, we have eliminated. I knew that, I X'd it out, but forgot to tell y'all. 3.1, discuss and possible take. Sir,
So we're not gonna deal with,
it's been removed from the agenda.
okay, so with 3-1,
3.1, discuss and possible take action on the adjustment of the retail electric rates for the Springfield Electric Department due to a wholesale cost adjustment by the Tennessee Valley Authority. A motion, please?
Hold on.
to-
I gotta get this to clear up.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Motion made by Alderman Hubbard, a second by Alderman Green to discuss the electric rates. Mr. Steve Sachs.
So after several months of rates going up, they finally started back down. And we've got a decrease of 13.2%.
Good news. My electric bill was high, and I'm sure everybody else in the room was.
You have some very angry customers. I know.
Any questions? We better hurry up and vote on this one. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.2, discuss and possible take action on the adjustment of the monthly gas rates for the Springfield Gas Department. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Mr. Greg Riddle.
Good news, purchase gas adjustments down 20.8%.
Yes, thank you.
But don't get used to it.
I shall expect both of you gentlemen to come back in the same direction next time in a downward movement. Any other questions, comments? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.3, discuss and possible take action on the appointment to the Industrial Development Board. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. Any questions on this?
Announce in the record who it is.
Mr. Martin, would you like to?
Sure. This is an Industrial Development Board appointment that Dwayne Sword is going to be replacing Robert Williams, who passed away. We honored him a few months ago, and Alderman Trotter has nominated his replacement.
Any discussion? No discussion, we're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.4, discuss and possible take action on a contract in the amount of $83,000 with the Destination by Design Plan LLC of Boone, North Carolina for the development of a tourism branding master plan. Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss.
Question.
I'm going to call on our city manager first, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. This is a contract, just as the mayor explained, for our tourism and branding study. You all know that as we embarked on the legislature approving our hotel motel tax and that being able to be used towards tourism, we filled the position of the tourism coordinator. One of the first things before we can really get off the ground is we've got to know how to approach that. What's the strategy going to be? And as you know, you're probably tired already of studies, because it seems like all we're doing in the last couple of years is studies, and facility study and parks master plan, system development study, all those things. And so, but a plan is important. And so the RFQ had gone out, or RFP had gone out, and this is the consultant that was selected. And so if you have any questions, we'll be glad to.
Was
try to
that-
answer.
Mr. Harris?
Selection of this, I understand there were several others that, maybe there were 6 that bid on this.
I believe that's correct. Ms. Tillman can probably answer more questions. She was involved in
Is
this.
this
Send
the
the mic
lowest
down, please.
bid, or is this just the bid that was chosen, or? It
So-
seems a little bit high to me compared to some other studies that we've done, but that may just be that particular thing, I don't know.
It came in higher than we had budgeted. We had planned on, I guess, 78,000 is what was in that line item. I think it came in a little over 80. This is gonna be all encompassing. It's kind of a plan that you can, it's set, well, as one other city put it, it's kind of your tourism Bible that you're gonna go by, how you're going to, so it lasts you longer than a 5-year parks master plan, if you will, is what it's designed to do.
But I don't think we've seen any of the bids, so was this the lowest bid, was it?
No, it's a qualifications RFQ, so, it was based on qualifications.
Okay.
When you do a request for qualifications instead of a request for proposal, that's, a request for proposal is a price that you're getting back. A request for qualifications is a qualifications-based selection. So state law kind of defines how that works, and you select someone based on their qualifications, then you negotiate a price with them after that. So you don't get to the point of, it's not a bid, if you will. So we have no idea what the other proposals that were submitted might have.
So this
might have
particular
been.
company just stood out to staff in wanting to select them? Based on other recommendations, or just based on what you saw from all 6?
Based on, we did a few interviews, and then, interviewed for them again.
Okay.
And I wanted to include too, part of this study is brand development, so they're going to create the logo, create the brand. We will have some assets with this as well.
Any other questions? Discussion? No other questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 5-1.
Okay. 3.5, discuss and possible take action to approve a contract in the amount of $20,000 with the Community Development Partners LLC for administrative services for the Ward Trace Creek Interceptor Project. That's a lot of words. Got tongue twisted. Motion made by Alderman Green and a second by Alderman Hubbard to discuss. Questions on this contract? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. 3.6, discuss and possible take action on the annual agreement with the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee in the amount of $15,000 for the bus service between Springfield and Nashville. Motion made to discuss by Alderman Green and a second by Vice Mayor Harris. This is something we've done for a number of years.
And I think our citizens appreciate it, so let's keep it going.
I see the bus. We've got 2 buses. Maybe 3.
Is there any number on how many people are using the service now?
I think that was in our packet, was it?
Yeah, let me see, if you scroll down a little bit, I think it's actually on the last page, and there's an estimate, and they're anticipating ridership to increase in FY '23. I would kind of guess that the COVID-19, that kind of suppressed some of that ridership is still coming back as folks return to the office, so.
Okay, yes, yeah.
Okay. Other questions
This-
about the
this-
bus service?
Basically what we've paid each year.
Yes.
The price hasn't
I figured
increased.
it increased.
Any?
Good service.
Yes. Any other questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. We are ready for our consent doc.
Mayor, without objection, I move we take as one.
Okay?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Harris to take it all as one, and a second by Alderman Trotter. Any discussion? Any questions on the consent? No questions? We're ready for a vote. Anyone like to change their vote? Please record the votes.
Motion passes 6-0.
Thank you. I will have to tell you this morning that our city manager, Mr. Ryan Martin, and Mr. Terry Martin, our Parks and Recreation Director, received an award in Gatlinburg for the Tennessee Municipal League Achievement Award for Excellence in Parks and Recreation. So we want to give Terry a round of applause. Terry and his departments work very hard on the Parks and Recreation to continue to add, and he's always got ideas for new things. He's always asking for us to appropriate some money for the new projects. So, he was brainstorming while he was in Gatlinburg, so I think he went by and visited some other parks and recreation, so beware.
To show him his award or?
Terry, did you bring the award?
It's over at the center.
Is there any chance we might lose him to Hollywood?
I think so.
Can I ask Chief Head a question?
Sure.
Are
Before I turn it over to Mr. Martin.
What is that?
These Durangos that we bought, is this new hire gonna be driving one of those? or-
I think he's going to federal prison.
Perpetrated office.
In that movie, Chief Police.
They are referring to the screen, and Mr. Martin was in the movie. Would you like to tell us what your role in the movie was?
I was a crooked cop.
Looks like it's a ball.
I understand that this is truly Chief Head's badge. No, it is not.
It is, I'll give you a little details, because in there, that badge is interesting. It's actually going to the museum very soon. It is the first one they issued to me, but it's a mistake. It's a misprint. It has the state seal in the middle where we carry the city seal on our badge. So he's in no danger of being sworn to do anything. He didn't know that it's not an official badge.
I was told, and I'm not sure there's any truth, that it was David Martin retiree's uniform.
I cannot confirm or deny that allegation.
Just in the midsection. Just like, it's pretty good there.
I think Mr. Terry Martin's had very good 5 days. He's been in a movie, he's received a state award from Tennessee Municipal League, so,
We're not stopping.
good, thank you, we're proud of you.
Probably ask for a sabbatical.
Yeah, he probably will. I'm gonna turn it over now to our city manager, Mr. Ryan Martin.
Thank you, Mayor. A couple of things that I wanted, first of all, to follow up, and I meant to add this for the tourism contract. That money is not coming out of the general fund, general tax money. That's strictly paid by hotel motel tax. And I meant to include that when I was mentioning that. Secondly, if you notice, we had quite a few consent items tonight. If you look at a few of them, you'll see that they're over budget. Okay, I mean, we're in an environment now, and I just want to make sure to point that out to let you know, some of the things we're having to pass on buying. I mean, we're not able to cover the overage, but the rest of them, we detail in there how we're covering that overage. But I wanted to make sure you knew that we're really struggling right now, even things on state contract. Items that are on state contract are over where we had planned, where they were on state contract a few months ago. We were in the budget prep process. So it's difficult. It's a wild environment right now. I'm sure you all know in your own businesses and how you're purchasing something. We're going through that. So I wanted to make sure you knew that. One of the things that we're battling. Wanted to congratulate the mayor. She's not only a District 5 director for the Tennessee Municipal League, but she was also appointed this past weekend at the conference to the executive committee. So that's a pretty big deal for the city of Springfield to have someone on the executive committee where a lot of statewide municipal issues are discussed and handled. So we appreciate that and her involvement and volunteering her service for that. The crosswalk stamping, if you all haven't seen the crosswalks downtown, please go take a look at them. They're wonderful. The downside of that is there was some equipment issues that the contractor had, so the schedule's kind of been drawn out and stretched out a little bit, so we'll have a little bit more of a traffic inconvenience downtown longer than we anticipated. But the crosswalk stamping is something we've been trying to get done for some time, and we're glad that's finally happening. Mayor Snyder already mentioned the movie project. It's called The Life of Me, and we've had several community members and city employees that have had the opportunity to participate in that movie. I think y'all mentioned one earlier that was able to participate in the movie, and he's actually has some speaking lines, Mr. Martin does, in the movie. So we'll be excited for that. It really showcases the city, and I believe they're going to be filming at the library as well this week. But the real point to that filming project, and I know it's because it gets in the way sometimes, and there are things like that, but thousands and thousands of dollars are spent in this community when a project like that comes to town. And so people ask, well, why do you want that to happen? Why do you want to be film friendly? We want to be film. We don't want to inconvenience and disrupt our current businesses. And so we try to work with, to whatever extent the authority that we have, we work with that filming crew to make sure they don't disrupt any businesses. But thousands of dollars have been poured into our grocery stores, into our local restaurants, and our local stores. And so there's a big economic boost that we'll see on the sales tax sheet next month as a result of this filming project. You also received an email from me, and citizens have already started receiving notices via their utility bill, or will be soon, about the violation notice of the water treatment plant. That was a chemical atrazine that is an agricultural herbicide that's used. As you know, a water treatment plant is surrounded by farmland, almost exclusively. And so when we had no rain, a lot of runoff created a higher level than is tolerable under the limits. But at no point was anyone in any immediate danger. Otherwise, we would have put out a notice. That's just something that we're required to do now by the state. Even though it's 2 months later, they still want us to let everyone know that we had that runoff into our water source there. And then our staff is very, very busy working on training for our new software transition. So if you encounter any of our staff and they look like they're ready to pull their hair out, then that's why, because, and Terry Beers already did.
Thought we were going to go at night without picking on him.
Well, yeah. But this is a big transition. This changes the way we do business, and it's something that we've been working on for quite some time, and we're undergoing a segment of that transition that will ultimately conclude next year, going live with our utility billing portion of that. But quite a few pieces are going live this year, and we'll be encountering that. Our staff is training on that right now. So we ask for the community's patience as we do this. Ultimately, it'll be more efficient, but software transitions are always difficult, so thank you.
And that involves all the departments.
Every department.
Well, and please know that each and every one of your departments are important to us. We realize that this is stressful right now, but hopefully this new software, as we purchase this, will make our life easier in the long run, just not today, right? Yes, sir.
We want to acknowledge Tiny from the Recreation Department, which is probably one of the sweetest PR persons for us, retiring at the end of this month. And I think she's been with us
42, she'll start her 43rd year in October. And with her 6 times, she'll have 44 years.
Wow,
she's
44 years.
she's a good ambassador.
She is.
We'll miss her
She
dearly.
is.
Super. Thank you for mentioning that. Anything else? Meeting's adjourned.